In this video, we're going to talk about an example of solving a polynomial inequality. So we're asked to solve the inequality x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x is less than 12. Alright, so much like when we start trying to solve an equation by factoring, if we want to solve an inequality and implement factoring, we need to get 0 on one side. So we'll move the 12 to the left-hand side and get x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x minus 12 is less than 0. We're going to factor the left-hand side. We're going to factor it by grouping. Out of the first two terms, we notice we can pull out an x squared and leaves us with an x plus 3. Out of the second term, two terms, we can factor out a negative 4 and it leaves us with an x plus 3. So factoring out the x plus 3's leaves us with an x squared minus 4. Factoring the x squared minus 4 gives us the x minus 2 and x plus 2. So all said and done with that left-hand side, we'd factor it as x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x plus 2, and we want that to be negative. The left-hand side is equal to 0 at negative 3, negative 2, and positive 2, and that's the only places where the expression on the left-hand side can change signs. So we'll set up some test intervals. We'll have our interval from negative infinity to negative 3, one from negative 3 to 2, one from negative 2 to 2, and one from 2 to infinity. Pick some test values in those intervals and see whether or not the expression is positive or negative. Put a negative 4 into that expression. You get a negative times a negative times a negative. We'll make a negative. Put a negative 5 halves. You'll get a negative times a negative times a... Sorry, you'll get a positive times a negative times a negative. That's what we have here. So it's positive. Put in 0. We get positive times negative times positive. Makes negative. And finally, if you put in 3, you get 3 positives. So the product is positive. We want the negatives. So we're looking at this inequality. We want to know when it's less than 0. Well, that happens on the interval from negative infinity to negative 3 and from negative 2 to 2. And we don't have any endpoints here included because we do not have this equal to. It's just strictly less than.